Hi guys, Novac here again, and I'm back with another review of a huge Kickstarter title that arrived at my door a few weeks ago, and I've already did a how to play video for this game. You can check it out on my YouTube channel as well. This is Dark Ages, Holy Roman Empire, and a huge second box filled with more of the same, which is the Heritage of Charlemagne. I hope I'm pronouncing this correct to all you French people. This is a game by Kvapinski and Andrei Novac from Board and Dice, and this is a kind of a 4X strategy game which can really be huge. One box can be played from 1 to 4 players, and any of those can be played. The maps are different, but the rules are generally the same, because this is like the Eastern Europe together with the northern part of Italy. As you can see more or less on the table, the map is covered with everything, so you probably can't see the map too much. And the Heritage of Charlemagne is like France and Spain and all those regions. But what you can do with those two boxes is you can connect those two maps into one gigantic map of whole Europe, and you can play a game from 5 to 8 players. 8! That's gonna be a long game, but it's gonna be huge. So if you have those two boxes, if you have one, grab the second one if you can find 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 players, because it will be worth it. Okay, so this is an honest review. It will be subjective, and there will be a lot of my opinions, both positive and negative, about this game, so here we go. So first, as usual, let's start with the positives. Now, if you're into quantity, then in one box there is a huge amount of plastic. Dudes, the things that I have here right now, this is only one army, the yellow one here, but there are 3 more of those. There are buildings for the cities. Those are the leather workers and the iron and the wood workers, and there are the churches. And there should be the stone buildings as well, the black ones, but I haven't taken it out of the box. There are the generals, there are the great buildings, there are the keeps which fit into the insides of the cities, and you can build them like this, like one level on top of each other. And there are also cities. There is a lot of plastic for the price that you get. It's a huge amount of components, more than 200 plastic bits and pieces. Then there are the wooden components, and then there are cards, so there is a lot. The quality, that's another thing, is good. The plastic miniatures are not the, cool minis, or not detail level or something like that, but they're well detailed and they look nice on the board, and they give it a very good strategic feel and everything, so it's good. The thick cardboard on the player boards and the board itself is really thick. The quality of the cards is good, and the game is packed in trays which help sort everything and take it out and put it in quicker. A lot of elements, so the teardown and the setup isn't brisk, but it's a bit quicker than if everything was just chucked in baggies into the box and that was it. So when it comes to the size, that's a plus if you're interested in that, right? So this is definitely it. Now when it comes to the strategy itself and the gameplay itself, it's pretty interesting. It has a few twists with the displaying of actions here in random order. Every game it will be a bit different, so you'll have to adjust to the reaction actions as well. The maps are scaling well to the number of players, so when you're playing with 2, only the northern part of this map is available to play, so it's always tight and pretty interactive. There are a lot of negative interactions, obviously, between players. There are barbarians who you can fight, and this also gives you a challenge. There are developments. The whole mechanic here smells a lot of like a civilization game, but with a focus on war and strategy rather than economics and growing your nation. There is economics with the building of those buildings to gather resources, and then collecting those resources and spending them. There is technology upgrading with upgrading your units and upgrading your nation, but it feels a bit like a means to an end, and the end is combat. Right? So if you are thinking of this kind of like a war game, more or less, because this is sooner or later you will be just battling, then even if you want to take a new territory, you will always have to battle, unless somebody just leaves it alone, because there are always barbarians to fight, so there's always a battle involved, mostly, right? So if this is something of your cup of tea, then great. If you have 4 players to play, with one box with a maximum number of players, this is going to be brilliant. If you have more, then let's check it out. I would like to see somebody play an 8-player game. I will definitely try to collect 8 people for this. So definitely a good game when it comes to those things, and I liked it. I liked apart from the varying main actions, I liked the mechanic of you know, how many things you can build and how they are related to other aspects of the game. So if you build a church, you can play a relic from your hand. If you build a city, you get culture. If you build a keep, you can interact, you can influence the die rolls during the battle. You have cognomen cards, which give you scoring conditions that you can play during the game, not at the end of the game. So you can kind of have intermittent goals. Territories have their own resource production types, so you are limited to what territories you control. So if you, for example, are far away from any wood, then you're practically screwed. You can't do anything that requires wood. And there are so many things that are dependent on one another that it's very satisfying once it clicks. Yes. And now, talking about this clicking, let's talk about the negative sides of this game for a moment. Now, we played our first game in 4 players with this, and during the first game, everybody was kind of focusing on expanding very quickly, and you just couldn't. And for 2 reasons. One reason is the lack of resources in the beginning of the game and the barbarians everywhere, which makes it very difficult, and the way that you settle new provinces by sacrificing your units. So you can't really spread quickly from the word go, which you have to learn a bit how to play the game. So the first game or 2 will be very, very slow, and because of that, very time consuming. Our first 4-player game with rules explanation up to the finale lasted 5.5 hours. So imagine what a first 8-player game would have to last. So this is first. The second thing is that, connected with the first one, is that this expansion is hindered a bit by the fact that the battles are basically, you know, concluded by a roll of the dice. I'm not a fan of battles that are won by dice, because if you have a bad roll, even with a strong army, you can just, you know, fail. And there were situations where one of our players was pretty much fed up with trying to conquer his first territory 3 rounds in a row and always being defeated by the same 2 barbarians. I know you can mitigate it using keeps built in cities, or some technologies, or leveling your units, or having more units attack and giving yourself more chances, but still, it's slow. So you have to be prepared for kind of a slow burn in this game. But once it grows, once you get more resources, more technologies, more cards and everything, it starts, you know, speeding up. You've got more things to do. It ramps up in your possibilities and abilities. And here I come to my third minus. And the third negative thing is that once it starts ramping up and, you know, you get more resources and everything, and you feel that you can do everything right now in this game, the game suddenly ends. There are 5 conditions for triggering game end, and sometimes they just come at the most surprising of moments. And we ended the game every single time by building all cities that we had, you know, available to build. But it has 4 more conditions, and some of them can be very quick. So you might not even get the chance to expand as much as you want to be satisfied with what you're doing, and suddenly, poof, we're done. And you have to calculate the points. So yeah, I was like, once we got the flow of the game and we got it running, we were hoping that it would last longer, and then it ended because we built the last city and it ended, triggered the end game. So yeah, I think that this could last some more. One last plus for this game that I definitely have to mention is the multitude of expansions in each box, because I've only opened right now the Holy Roman Empire box. This one is still kind of unopened because we were only playing this map right now. But in the rulebook there are 15 modules that you can add into the game for more variety. And there is a solo module, there is the module of the grand game for 8 players, and 13 modules with, you know, different levels of complication that, you know, you might add, like generals or grand buildings and stuff like that. And with those modules, I have a mixed feeling, because there is a variety and you can add like 1 or 2, but I feel that if you add too many, some of them will go unused for the duration of the game. Like for the first game, we added the buildings, we added the generals, we added the alchemists and the crusades and something more. And I can tell you, nobody purchased a general, nobody built a building, everybody was using the alchemist, nobody went on a single crusade. So it's kind of like, you know, either add 1 or 2 expansions at most, but I feel that if you throw all of them in, this game might become like too big to handle, and that also might be a drawback for some people. So that's it from me. This was Dark Ages from Board and Dice, a strategy game of immense proportions and immense number of components. And my name is Lone Vic, and this was my review. Check out all the other videos on my channel. Check out the How to Play for Dark Ages as well. It's pretty fresh still on the channel. Leave a comment under this video if you have any opinions you want to share. Click the like button, hit the subscribe, ring the notification bell. Have a great day. See you very soon. Bye bye.